Welcome to episode 6. Is this 6? 6 or 7? I don't really know. No pun intended there. I promise. That is so last year. But yeah, I don't really know which episode this is. I'm going with 6, okay? I'll double check that when I post this video. But I don't know. This is getting a little extended, this whole series, but this is episode 6 of my Ninjago series ranking. And like I said, today we're going to be doing a bit of a controversial one, but it is nowhere near as controversial as the one that's coming after this one. So do keep watching the series. The next one's just insane. But this one, I need you guys to let me know. I'm not going to reveal it quite yet. I need you guys to let me know. Is this a little bit of a hot take that I wanted this to be lower? I don't know. I can explain why I wanted it to be lower. And it had a lot of filler, and I'm sure by now you guys are kind of guessing what this is. This is, of course, Ninjago Season 2. That is right. Today we are going to be discussing Legacy of the Green Ninja, or Return of the Dark Lord. No, there's actually a couple names for this, but I'm pretty sure Legacy of the Green Ninja is the most popular one. So, yeah, it really all just depends on where you're watching it, but where I usually find it, it's under Legacy of the Green Ninja. But I'm serious, there are actually other names. I'm not just an idiot, right? So yeah, this is going to be a fun one. There's a lot to talk about, but let's go ahead and start off with summarizing the season and just starting off skimming over the filler. I don't want to completely highlight everything, but the beginning you kind of need just for a little preference, this is what's happening. So the ninja just defeated Great Devourer, and Garmadon has stolen the golden weapons, which is a really interesting kind of cliffhanger kind of thing. I think it's kind of it's a good cliffhanger. They won, but then the villains disappeared. And I think that's what most shows need. A show like Dragon's Rising needs those heavy cliffhangers at the end of Season 2, but that's a discussion for another time. All I'm really trying to say, I'll talk about this more when we get to Season 1. I do love the way Season 1 actually ends. I think it's kind of a fantastic way to end the season. Anyways, so Garmadon has the golden weapons. The Destiny's Bounty was destroyed. The monastery was burned, which is kind of ironic. I know I'm going on a couple of rants here, but I have a lot to say. It's kind of ironic that both their homes got destroyed in one season. It's pretty funny, right? Anyway, so what happens is Garmadon's gone, and they need a place to stay. So they start doing these jobs, and there's a funny filler episode of them doing jobs to afford a place to stay and a place to train Lloyd, which happens to be the Mojo Dojo, which is when Dareth, the legend, if you watch a lot of my minifigure videos and other things, you notice a lot of them somehow have Dareth in them, all of them. It's kind of like a little Easter egg. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I think it's kind of funny. But go watch a lot of my videos. See if you can find him. It's pretty funny. He's in a lot of them, especially the Ninjago ones, for sure. But anyways, to continue on, what I was trying to say is the ninja need a place to stay. And they end up trying to find this really expensive hotel. And on these side jobs, they run into the Serpentine. It's a whole thing, but skimming past a lot of filler. A lot of the filler is just Garmadon. He fused the 4 golden weapons into the mega weapon, which is kind of underwhelming, okay? We might as well go ahead and talk about this since we're on this topic. And we'll talk about this when we get into the good and the bad section, specifically the bad. But the mega weapon, which just had so much missed potential, it was a little underwhelming. I just kind of felt I don't know, it just didn't live up to what it could have been. Watching it as a kid, I had this idea oh my word, Garmadon has the golden weapons. What is he going to do? And then I kind of feel I should make some meme where it's bruh, and it shows Garmadon just being uncreative. The most he could create was a cannon to shoot down the Ultra Dragon. It was actually kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, Garmadon, maybe it's just that Garmadon stinks as a villain in the older seasons, which is what gets fixed in Sons of Garmadon and Hunted and so on, is where Garmadon really gets fixed, where I actually was oh, I like this guy. Because believe it or not, as a kid, LEGO did a horrible job marketing Garmadon and making him feel cool. I didn't like him at all. I know he's so iconic and nostalgic for a lot of you guys, but in the older seasons, I just didn't buy him, you know? I was just kind of more into seeing my favorite color-coded ninjas, right? But, Garmadon, character-wise, just wasn't that great. And I thought a lot of the stuff was cool, like how he's Lloyd's father. He has a lot of context, but just like writing wise and dialogue, and I don't know, they make him underwhelming. Like there's a lot of missed potential with Garmadon as well. He's probably just horrible at using the mega weapon. Maybe it's not the mega weapon's not powerful. He literally has the powers of creation. Now, granted, you could headcanon that he didn't really know how to use creation because he was a destroyer at heart. Like that's his elemental power, and he's a villain, but overall, I just kind of feel like I don't know. There's a lot of missed potential between those two things, the Mega Weapon and Garmadon. But moving on. So one of the main things that happens is that Garmadon actually allies with the Serpentine, while the ninja are kind of facing off him and the Serpentine using the Mega Weapon. He realizes that, hey, he doesn't have enough power, or maybe he just sucks at using the Mega Weapon. So he decides, hey, I need to find the big bad. You know, I need something to help me in world domination because I'm not meant to be a filler villain, which is another kind of ironic thing. I've always kind of like headcanon that he just doesn't like being a filler villain. Because if you notice all the other seasons he's not really filler at all. But in like season 2, like the first part of it, he's just filler. I don't know. I find that kind of funny. Maybe it's not that funny. Stop looking at me like that. So yeah, why the ninjas are just being idiots and kind of completely distracted, and yeah, Lloyd finding out that his mom stinks. Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff. More context on that here like later, but Garmadon finds this dark island because the Serpentine kicked him off of a helicopter, and he ends up like because they betrayed him, stabbed him in the back, made Scales their king, which is something you probably need to know just for context on a lot of other seasons if you haven't seen season 2, which you probably have, but whatever. So Garmadon is on the Dark Island, and he finds the Overlord, and the Overlord helps resurrect the Stone Army, and they start like preparing for this so-called final battle, right? And it turns out that the Stone Army is getting awakened under Ninjago City, and the Serpentine, there's a little bit I want to skim over, but the Serpentine end up searching for power as well, and they get trapped where the Stone Army was held, and it's kind of a cool scene for me. And it probably is for a lot of you guys. I don't think this is hot take at all, but I think that scene, like that whole episode is so sick. Like you get to see the Stone Army throw the Serpentine, like just show you how much of a level up the Stone Army is. And to this day, they're not the strongest. I definitely think like the Oni are stronger, but to this day, they are some of the strongest warriors in Ninjago we have ever seen. It's just kind of fascinating that in season 2 they had better concepts than and somewhat better designs than right now. Like the Wolf Clan warriors are nowhere near, like while they're awesome and I really respect the design, and same thing with the Dragonians, their design is tough, but they're nowhere near like as iconic and like detailed and just story-wise well written out as the Stone Army, which is another thing that I wanted to talk about, but I guess we'll go ahead and just kind of pin that there because we already mentioned it. But moving on, the ninjas go to the Dark Island, finding out that that's where Garmadon is, and seeing all these stone warriors. They need to go somewhere and try to awaken, or no, not awaken, Garmadon to awaken the Overlord. But the ninjas need to go there to hurt or kill the Overlord and stop Garmadon. I can't speak today, I'm sorry, but anyway, so they do that. And another thing that I want to just briefly mention is they find Misako. And I don't have a lot to mention. If you guys wanted me to talk about Misako, just let me know if you want to see a character retrospective on her, because I'm definitely not talking about her in that video. That's just the whole video within itself. And overall in the season, she didn't really do that much, but she is kind of like the worst mom ever. So it's just kind of funny. But if you guys do want a character retrospective on her, just let me know. But moving on, the ninjas end up defeating the Overlord and Garmadon. There's a lot that happens. There's so many battles there, and they find Dr. Julian, Zane's dad, which again, don't have a lot to say about that arc. And one episode that I really hate that I should probably mention is the episode where the Destiny's Bounty is going over that sea, and like that whole thing where the starfish are like eating the ship. If you know, you know. I know it sounds weird. Just watch it and you'll understand, okay? I'm not stupid. Yeah, but the Overlord betrays Garmadon, kind of like possesses him, and then uses him to hurt Lloyd really bad, and then goes to Ninjago City, kind of corrupts it. And then, I'm sorry, I'm really skimming over this, but the ninja find out that Lloyd is the golden ninja, and he can pilot the first Spinjitzu's master's mech. So they were abandoned on the Dark Island, but found a way to get back to Ninjago City. And there they face off against the Overlord once and for all, and he has used Garmadon's body and turned it into his, like, true form or something. He's, like, a massive evil dragon, and he's, like, blowing up everything. I don't know. Yeah, and somehow he turned a tank into a building. What? Okay, that's just really funny to me. There's a lot of really funny stuff you can laugh at. Maybe it's just funny for me because I've been a long fan of it. If you guys are like, I sound so stupid just like looking at myself like as someone who hasn't seen Ninjago. If I was someone that hadn't seen Ninjago, I would just look stupid. But stop looking at. All right, so yeah, there's this apparently really awesome final battle. This is definitely a hot take, but I think the final battle is a little underwhelming because maybe it's just that it's aged, right? But like the season 1 final battle is so good, and I think that should go down in history as like one of the best final battles in Ninjago ever. It's so good, and then you get to this one, and you're like, this is what was originally going to end Ninjago. And another thing we should probably just mention, this was where Ninjago was going to end, and I would not have been happy with it, honestly. Like, I don't think if Ninjago ended here, there's just so much missed potential. And I really think this is not that great of a season, and I really wanted to put it lower, okay? That is definitely a hot take. At least that's what I asked you guys to tell me in the beginning of the video. Let me know, please. I'm dying here, but yeah, I kind of feel like that's a hot take, but at the same time, I'm like, that's my opinion. Like, I don't think that's, I don't know. I just feel like it's so much better in season 1 and the pilots, and spoiler alert, wait until the next episode, but it's I don't know. I could go on a rant, but I'm not going to, because now we have to get into the good and the bad of the season. This is going to be really short because I just basically talked about everything in the whole summary. All right, let's just start with the good. Okay, for what it is, this is just classic Ninjago, right? There's a lot of like classic Team Ninja stuff. The elemental blades I feel like aren't as iconic as the golden weapons, but those were kind of cool to see the ninjas actually harnessing their elemental powers through the blades, and seeing Lloyd become the golden ninja is so iconic. That never gets old, that whole arc. Like, I mean, this may not be my favorite season, and it's probably worse than Dragon's Rising Season 3, but just because of some input, thanks to my friend, I decided to, like, put it up a lot higher. I would have had this, like, I don't know, probably right after Prime Empire in this ranking. Like, I just feel like it's not that great. Like, it's just not that great. I don't know. I don't know. I just can't. I can't with this season, okay? It's a hot take. I'm just assuming now, but I think it is. It's definitely a hot take. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's just move on. So, there's a lot of good in this season, but I mean, this has kind of been the case for every other season. I'm kind of explaining why it's not, like, number 1 is what I'm doing. So I might as well just go ahead and say the bad. So let's just speed through this and wrap this video up. I just got to say thank you so much for staying tuned if you are still tuned. Wait, why are you trying to press that button? Hey. But yeah, in all serious though, this has been kind of a wild video, and I am noticing. I know it's kind of wild, but let's jump into the bad and wrap this video up. Thank you so much for staying tuned if you are still tuned, in all seriousness. So, okay, let's just start things off with talking about the filler, which is probably the worst part of the season. And I know I like filler, but maybe it should just be like one episode every now and then. I feel like a show that does filler really great is Monkey Kid, and I am working on a video on Monkey Kid. So stay tuned for that. That's probably going to be about the length of this video, and I might give it a part 1 and part 2. Depends on if it gets longer than this video or not. I try not to do videos over 15 minutes for you guys' sake. But yeah, anyways, Monkey Kid is definitely something that does filler really great because it's super entertaining, but it's not the case for Ninjago. I do think there's some really iconic stuff in here, and Season 2 wouldn't be Season 2 without it. And I don't know. I know I make jokes about Garmadon not wanting to be a filler villain, which is actually kind of funny. At least I think it is. I don't know. Stop looking at me like... Guys, there's so much I could say about the season, but I'm just now realizing I've said it all. Thank you so much for watching, and please hit that subscribe button if you do find the time. But yeah, just thank you for staying in here. I'll see you guys in the next one.